guys, please make sure when you walk in, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not done so already. And please make sure you hit that notification bell on the right hand side. Remember, we do go live each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Thank you for tuning in to KL Culture Radio. Jordan, what's happening? What's popping like?
I'm all good over here. I'm great, man. Another day, another dollar. Let's go. Let's get it.
I can't. You feel it? You all right?
Yeah, yeah.
I hear echo. I hear
Man,
echo.
I'm good. Can you hear me?
hmm
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
hmm
Jordan, you go ahead and do your thing.
What's going on, people? What's going on? Glad y'all coming in the chat. We're gonna get right into it. So today's topic, we're gonna talk about job losses and layoffs today. As you can, see, I don't know if you guys are hearing this. Like I said, there's been a whole lot of layoffs this past, since the year started for right now. And I was looking at this article in Forbes. They came out, and I'm gonna go in a little detail about these layoff surge that's happening on in 2023. So nearly the beginning from 2023 to now, it's been nearly 164,000 U.S. employees lost their jobs, and more than 150 major layoffs so far in 2023, which counts of layoffs affecting more than 100 positions as waves of job cuts spanning tech, bank, media, manufacturing, manufacturing jobs as well. And it continues into the new year as employers fear a recession could be around the corner, which I believe the recession here is right now. So here are some key things, facts we talk about going around, around these companies. So let's start with tech. So tech companies face the brunt of the major layoffs in 2023, with the biggest round of cuts coming from Google, the Google parent Alphabet, which lets go over 12,000 employees in January, and decided by the CEO, which it was a tough decision to say, what he called it was a tough choice to make. Another key fact: more than 74,000 U.S. employers lost their jobs in the major layoffs in the month of January alone. That's including companies like Salesforce, Goldman Sachs, and IBM. Amazon earlier this year, which unveiled a plan last year to cut more than 18,000 positions and also laid off 8,000 jobs after letting go another 10,000 back in November. And this happened after the pandemic was over, and they see there was some job that they need or they wasn't making the money, so they cut jobs as well. Microsoft announced rounds of cuts in January, affecting 10,000 employees, while in February, Microsoft-owned tech company GitHub laid off 300 people in May. Microsoft cut another 158 employees from its headquarters in Washington State, matter of fact. Also, here's another fact, the manufacturing jobs, giant 3M also underwent multiple rounds of layoffs in 2023, cutting 2,500 positions in January before the Scotch tape and post-it notes make slash another 6,000 jobs in April. Let's see. And also, if you want to go into media, we also know we remember ESPN. They made major job layoffs, as in big names as Jalen Rose, as people know, he was working there for a long time. Max Kellerman, he was on First Take. Jeff Van Gundy, who was an NBA announcer, he was there for 16 years. He got his job cut. And many, many more people. And there's also here and there's going to be probably more cuts during the future. So what the thing about that is with ESPN, they're losing viewership, year by year by year, and they'll be losing viewership for a long, long time. And also, Disney owns ESPN, and also Disney, they're losing money as well. So as we see, we're in this, this time as we're seeing a lot of layoffs, from just from tech, from manufacturing companies, from banks, all over. And it's going to continue to see job losses. And it's going to affect a lot of people, especially here in the United States of America. So we're gonna play a couple videos of how a couple companies they're laying off people, and after that we're gonna chop it up. Go ahead, King.
Now, the global economic slowdown has taken its toll on banking and finance giants. Latest reports suggest that Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan, two of the biggest names in the global finance, are laying off scores of employees globally. Goldman Sachs has started laying off managing directors across the world as deal-making slows down amid a downturn in the global economy. Reports suggest that about 125 managing directors, including some in investment banking, will lose their jobs as part of a deep cost-saving drive at the bank. Meanwhile, JP Morgan Chase is cutting about 40 investment bankers in North America as per sources. This latest job cut will span all levels of seniority. Earlier this week, JP Morgan eliminated about 20 investment banking jobs in Asia. The COVID-19 pandemic had led to a boom in deal-making across the world. Goldman Sachs ramped up hiring in 2020 and 2021 amid a surge in M&A and initial public offerings, while JP Morgan Chase saw a record high in investment banking fee. However, rising interest rates and economic uncertainty have hampered deal-making for over a year. Beyond is now available in your country. Download the
Just announced plans to close hundreds of stores. The Deerfield-based company told investors it expects to close 150 stores in the U.S. by August. August of 2024. 300 Boots locations in the United Kingdom will also be shuttered. Shares of the pharmacy chain tumbled after the company reported lower than expected earnings in the third quarter, blaming declining sales of COVID tests and vaccines. Walgreens just announced plans to close hundreds.
Currently underway as we speak. And I'll just give you some of the people who have been laid off so far by ESPN. Jalen Rose, Jeff Van Gundy, Susie Colbert, Todd McShay. There is a bevy of people, Steve Young, who have worked at ESPN, many of them for a very long time, Max Kellerman, Keyshawn Johnson, many of them who have worked at ESPN for a long time and are otherwise being paid very well. What's going on here? First of all, I've been fired. You guys know that. I started Outkick because I got fired by Fan House. It's not fun to be fired. Many of you out there have worked at companies where you have been fired as well. But I wish everybody there well as they recover from the firings. But here's what I think is important. The story here is ESPN's business is rapidly collapsing. And I've been arguing this for years. Some of you who are watching or listening to this now are nodding along because I told you exactly what was going to happen as cord cutting accelerated. Basically, there used to be 100 million cable and satellite subscribers to ESPN's channel. Now we're down to around 70 million. And that number may well fall all the way to 50. It continues to accelerate. And as those cable subscribers come off the books for ESPN, their revenue is declining massively. They are not making that money back up in streaming, and I'll talk about that in a second. And it's simultaneously, all of the sports leagues are asking for more money for their sports rights. For instance, the NBA is coming up. The NFL just came up. And that means that ESPN is being required to spend far more money on sports rights at the simultaneous time that their revenue is collapsing from the cable and satellite bundle. That's a bad combination. As if that were not enough, they also are having to spend gobs of money in streaming, and they're actually losing money in streaming. In fact, Disney, the parent company of ESPN, has lost $11 billion. That's billion with a B so far in streaming. They've lost $11 billion. They haven't made money back at all. The profit margins at ESPN are getting squeezed, and some people say, well, they're just going to pivot and shift to ESPN Plus. They're not going to. Streaming is seasonal. It is far less profitable. And so far, we do not have the best available sports on there. But eventually, you're going to have to pay $200 or $300 a year for ESPN if you want to subscribe all year long, and you're still not going to get the cable and satellite bundle, right? All this is collapsing. And so what's happening is the business side is panicked, and they are trying to cut tens of millions of dollars in yearly salary off of the ESPN books. And that's how you get the Susie Colbers of the world, who've been there for a long time, the Max Kellermans, the Keyshawn Johnsons, the Matt Hasselbacks. All those guys who make a lot of money are losing their jobs, and ESPN's trying to save tens of millions of dollars. Now, simultaneously, they've hired Pat McAfee. It's a tough spot for Pat McAfee to walk into because a lot of these guys are getting fired, and many people, we have a story up about this right now, online are ripping Pat McAfee and saying, hey, you're going to make $18 million a year. That's the reported deal. And all of these people who are making less than you are losing their jobs. Not fair, because ESPN is saying, hey, we're going to make a lot of money off this new Pat McAfee show. They may or may not. I don't know. But I never think it's fair when you blame talent for their salaries as a condition of other people losing their jobs. For instance, Stephen A. Smith is among the highest paid people at ESPN. ESPN makes a lot of money off of Stephen A. Smith's talent. Therefore, they're able to hire more people, right? First Take is a very profitable show. I'll give you an example. I'm at iHeart. iHeart is one of the most lucrative, the Clay and Buck show is one of the most lucrative products in all of iHeart. In fact, they may make more money at iHeart off Clay and Buck than they do off any other show in the entirety of iHeart. I don't know. I don't see the books on everybody. They make a lot of money off us. That means that iHeart can invest and hire many more people as a function of how much money they're able to make off of us, right? That's how business works. The most lucrative and profitable parts of that business allow money to be spent in other parts of the business that may or may not make as much money. So I don't think it's fair to blame Pat McAfee, but I do think the seismic structural attack that is currently going on against ESPN's business and Disney writ large is a big story. And I've been ahead of it, and a lot of people out there were like, oh, you're wrong, Clay. ESPN's making a ton of money. You have no idea what you're talking about. No, that's not true. ESPN's profit margin is rapidly declining. In the years ahead, they may well move into the red. That is where Disney is losing money off of ESPN, which is why on some level I feel like Disney may spin off ESPN, maybe to a sports gambling company. I don't know where this is headed, but I know that ESPN's business is in severe straits, rapidly declining, is not likely to be successful in the decade ahead. And I told you about a decade ago this was all going to happen. So I don't take particular joy in it, but if you go back and read everything that I wrote, ESPN has been a middleman for a very long time. The cable and satellite bundle was one of the best media businesses of all time in terms of profitability and how much everybody made. And now everybody's cutting their cable and satellite bill, and that bill is coming due, which means a lot more people are going to get fired, even people that have been highly paid and highly touted inside of ESPN. So that is the story about what is going on there. The ongoing layoffs. This will not be the last layoffs that happen at ESPN. There is more that will occur as well, and things are going to continue to get worse in the cable and satellite media industry. Some will be able to stream, right? Some will be able to make the move to streaming. And I'll give you an example that I think is true. It doesn't cost that much to do MSNBC, CNN, or Fox News. What do I mean by that? You cover the news. You don't have to buy the news, right? You have to buy Monday Night Football to put it on. You have to buy the NBA. You have to buy Major League Baseball to put all of that on the air. It is very, very expensive to run a sports network. And what used to happen was ESPN was the middleman. When they had 100 million subscribers, everybody's paying monthly cable and satellite bills. What ESPN would do was take all that money and then roll much of it into buying sports rights, Now their pile of cash is diminishing. Likely about half of all of the subscribers are going to be out there in the decade ahead. You're going to go from 100 million to 50 million, and ESPN's not going to be able to afford the same quality of sports programming, which is going to further drive subscriptions down. And streaming is not going to save them. You've got two sinking ships simultaneously, the cable and satellite business and the streaming business. Right now, they still make money off cable and satellite. They make nothing off of streaming. Eventually, both of them are going to be money losers. And I don't know how this is going to come off. You've seen it on some level with what happened with the regional sports networks, right? When you think a lot of these teams are not getting paid now and the regional sports networks are basically bankrupt, I think it may end up being the case for ESPN as well. I think ESPN may be headed sooner rather than later towards bankruptcy.
Employees being laid off are in the Bay Area. Regardless, layoffs at Meta and other tech companies across the region are a growing reality with each passing day.
What do you think about that number? 11,000 people from Facebook.
Yeah, it's a really large number.
It's tough to comprehend. It's a lot of people.
Tech's tanking a little bit, it's moving on.
Meta's jaw-dropping announcement has stunned a lot of people who live and work in the Bay Area. Nathan Riley says his 6-month contract with Meta and Tech Communications finishes next week. When he got an email about the layoffs, he thought,
Strange. Sign of the times. Not terribly surprising, as Facebook has kind of been leaving the whole social media thing and going into the metaverse.
Professor Olaf Groth is with the UC Berkeley Haas School of Business. With Meta announcing massive layoffs, Salesforce also announcing this week it's laying off about 1,000 people, and Twitter cutting 3,700 workers.
That'll hit the Bay Area quite hard. I think, though, much needed rebalancing, right? Both in terms of how these businesses are run, as well as the cost of living here in the Bay Area. We always assume there is a hockey stick, and that hockey stick growth never ends. When in reality, there's ups and downs.
In San Francisco, Roger Lee founded 3 startup companies since he graduated from Harvard. He created Layoffs.fyi to track tech industry layoffs nationwide.
Now I've got the most comprehensive database list of layoffs. So far, Layoffs.fyi has recorded that in the Bay Area alone, 227 tech companies have laid off collectively 36,000 employees. The Bay Area accounts for roughly 1/3 of the tech layoffs that my site has been tracking, and roughly 1/2 of all tech layoffs in the United States.
Tech experts say even the most successful companies are no longer immune to layoffs.
And Meta says it's extending its hiring freeze until the first quarter of 2023. Meanwhile, industry experts believe layoffs will continue among Bay Area tech companies. Live in the newsroom, Suzanne Fawn, ABC 7 News.
All right.
Yeah, y'all, as you can see, a lot of these big companies, they are laying off people from ESPN, from Meta, Twitter, Google. It's going around, and it looks like it's not going to stop. And it's just looking bad right now with these certain jobs and everything. So I'm gonna pass it to you guys. How you guys feel about these job losses going on in 2023.
Now, the thing is, people gotta understand is not to panic, because even though you see like big tech companies and also retail companies laying off a lot of people. However, they added, hey, Liberated Soul, man, what's going on, big dog? What's happening? Although it's happening, according to the workers index, it indicated that pretty much 100,000 jobs was just added this month alone. So that means even though their jobs being laid off, there's still other opportunity for people to still find employment. Now what people gotta understand something. When you see massive layoff like that, when you see like tech companies, Amazon or a Whole Foods Market or Walmart or Tesla, Facebook, they're pretty much are trying to please the shareholders. The shareholders not making a certain type of money within that quarter. That's what people just tend to not understand. If the shareholders, this is not a financial advice, but that's something that you have to understand the game when it comes to having stocks and having bonds and investing in a company. If you're not making a certain amount of profit and the shareholders not pleased with it, they're gonna lay off that job so the shareholders can be pleased within the company so they can invest more. That's what people gotta tend to understand. So it hurts because somebody just lost their job, but we live in a capitalist society where everything's about capitalism, everything is about the almighty dollar. So it's like, okay, I'd rather this person that's pretty much that's in an executive office who only just sitting in his desk, I'd rather get rid of him and bring the cost down so I got easy please the shareholder. And not only that, but it also give other opportunity for other people within the company that actually want to grow within the company. But I just want to hear Hakeem's thoughts on that. Go ahead.
Brother, you articulated very, very well. I don't have to say much, but I can say this. What history has taught us is this is not the first time nor the last time we're going through this. Corporations and stuff have been affected. We went through this in 2008. I think people forgot about that. I don't know if people forgot. People was not working at that time. Certain industries get affected. So it's time for tech to get affected. You see, they say tech companies. And there is other companies who are being affected, especially the transportation business. A lot of truck drivers are going out of businesses. A lot of that are going out of business. Inflation comes. Money rise up, crashes everything down. People get out of work. This is normal. This has been going on since the Great Recession and since the Great Depression. You know what I mean? But there's certain recession-proof corporations and stuff. Some people will not be affected by it. Some people will not be affected. The trades are not. The trades. You know what I mean? The iron workers. There's still houses being built, plumbers, HVAC. You know what I mean? Don't get me wrong. We need engineers. And mind you, I think Sherry Bryant, who might be more qualified to answer this question, have she seen any layoffs in her company? She is an engineer. You know what I mean? And I don't know what type of engineer she is. That's one thing I need to specify. You know what I mean? Shout outs to Seville and Muhammad. And shout outs to Sugar Bum. Motivational beauty. Sugar Bum, my thumbnail for today. So I want us to look at it from this point. I don't think that, you know what I mean? I'm going to say some people might get mad. There's a lot of people who are poor and not going to be affected by it. If you've already been poor and you've been going through this since 2008, you've already know how to go about this. You feel me? If you live below your means, it's only the people who are going to be affected and only the more wealthier places. When they say the Bay Area, rent has been going Jordan can answer that. Rent have been $5,000 a month for rent. Massachusetts, Boston, $3,000 a month. New York City, $2,000 to $3,000 a month. Damn near half of New York lives in Florida now. Go ahead, brothers.
Right about that, Hakeem. Yeah, stuff like this, where I'm kind of piggyback what Hakeem was saying. There's always something that's going to happen. There's a certain shift of jobs, markets that's going to be layoffs, or companies that's going to go down. Fortunately, like ESPN, like I said, we all knew it was coming because how back in the 90s and 2000s, they was strictly pushing sports. And then after that, you see they kind of swift, being, going political, taking stands, and not really looking at sports like that, looking at sports and politics. And for me, I think that was one of the things that hurt ESPN. Now, the guy Clay Charles was saying is everything is like you can see how they're losing subscribers, they're losing viewerships, and it looks like they don't have the money, either, they might go to bankruptcy and they don't probably don't have the money to save themselves. So I feel like it's very, very important to people, just like I said, anywhere you work at, just look at, what career you're going to or what trade you're going to, make sure it's going to, it's going to be there for at the long run, because a lot of people really don't know. A lot of people, when they take a job, especially people in their 20s, they'll look at the long-term effect. Okay, there you go, Sherry Brian. There you go. So engineers, it's always up there. No layoffs. No layoffs. So so back to it. As you can see, some pharmacy they're closing down. Not just Walgreens, Rite Aid, they're closing down. And also, you know, some big companies like Walmart, as we talked about, I think a month or two ago, like there was 4 Walmarts to close it down in black neighborhoods of Chicago. You know, I think, like I said, it's really, really important to look at what you take, looking in your career, what you're looking going to, and make sure it's there for the long run. I want to bring something else. There's a writer strikes out here in California. You know, people are striking because of, as you can see, you know, AI is coming up in the game as well. And people that's in the older generation, I don't think how people really don't know how AI will affect jobs coming up in the next 5, 10, 15, 20 years. You know, AI is really going to have a big effect on jobs as well. So, like I said, it's really, really important to look at, like I said, the jobs that you're going through, especially if you're going to colleges. Make sure you get the right degree that, you know, that's going to pay well. And also that, you know, you're going to have a job for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, you know, something you can retire on. Because if you're out of the loop and you don't know what's going on, you know, if you work at a certain company and then, you know, you don't know what the company is going to, you know, how much money they make, you know, going through quarter by quarter and also shareholders and all that type of things. You know, if you don't know none of that and then you see, hey, you know, your boss come up to you, y'all having a meeting and y'all say, you know, there's going to be some layoffs, or there's, you know, the store is going to close down, or this type of manufacturing place is going to shut down, and it's you're going to surprise you. But the thing is, you want to prepare for it. You're not looking at information. So I really feel like, you know, people should really look at, you know, like we're showing you right now, you know, how there's a shift on certain jobs that's going to get cut, and also there's going to be a shift that's jobs that's going to be added on, like engineering, like energy. Energy is really, really big, especially here in California, Phoenix, and here in Nevada, because, you know, some parts of California, majority parts of Arizona and Nevada is in the desert, and energy is really, really big out here. And I feel like, you know, there's a little jump up to that. It's like, to me, it's going to hit other states like Sunshine States, like Texas, and also Florida as well. So it's like energy to me that's going to be a big jump, you know, in the future. And I think people should look at that as well. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, but shout out to Liberated Soul. Welcome. Shout out to Nightish. Welcome, big dog. And J Dub, what's happening? What's going on, J Dub? What's popping like it? Yeah. So, I want to talk about ESPN right now. So people are wondering what's going on with ESPN. What's happening with ESPN? It's pretty much everybody now is no longer having cable TV. Everybody now are streaming. Everybody's on YouTube. Everybody's on Instagram. Everybody's on Twitter. Everybody's on Twitch. Everybody's on Rumble. So people no longer having cable TV. Everybody's on Netflix. Everybody's on Prime. So if that's happening, guess what? ESPN ratings going down. Nobody's pretty much watching them. So my best bet for those men who have lost their job and they have already anchors, they already know the sports world. For me, I think they should just create a YouTube channel and just talk about sports. There you go. Now you're generating revenue. Matter of fact, now you're generating more revenue because now you're not under no contract. So that's the thing. That's the situation that's transpiring with ESPN. It's because nobody's no longer watching TV. And I think right now, the number one sports show, if I'm not mistaken, I think is Undisputed before Shannon Sharp left.
Yep.
So there you have it. Go ahead, Akin.
Before you go, I wanted to add this and look at what Stephen A's doing. He started his YouTube channel because he said on his YouTube channel, I think it was a day or two ago, he said, hey, you know, there's a possibility that I said ESPN might let me go. It might not be today, it might not be in a month, it might not be in a year or two or so, but how ESPN is, you know, just losing money, probably go to bankruptcy. You know, it might be a time that, you know, ESPN in the next 4 or 5 years that they're not going to be televised no more. You know, they might be actually going to be cut.
Hey, Bronny, yeah, Shannon Sharp left. He left, but we don't know where he's going. He said he's going to announce it in the fall where he's going. But right now, his YouTube is popping, so who knows? Go ahead.
But what Ronnie was saying, like I said, you see a lot of these, you know, see now he's going independent with his YouTube channels. Hopefully, Jenny Rose, Max Kemley, they do the same thing because to me, it's like, all these podcasts coming up that that's a good route to go, especially, they have so much experience as being being an analyst or also playing in a sports, which is NFL or the NBA. So I think, like I said, they'll definitely be fine. Really push independently, which we probably see because we see a lot of these entertainers, sports figures, they are going to YouTube, having these podcast shows and really going independent, making their money. Go ahead, Akeem.
Yeah, no, most definitely. But if a lot of people fail to remember, Disney, who bought the catalogs and bought all these companies, since a lot of their programming they have not made money off of streaming. Even Netflix was losing money. So they did say something that was kind of pivotal, which that when you are promoting something and you don't own the rights to something, you got to pay licensing and the rights to do it. Those people might charge a high fee. Now, we might love a lot of these people, but these people are not bringing in no money. You know what I mean? I didn't hear Malika Andrews got fired.
Because she's cheap, that's why. Like I said, if you don't pay her that much, well, you might as well. It's kind of saying keep her cheap to keep her.
You see what I'm saying? So I want us all to recognize that, but I also want us to all to understand that as everybody here who is a part of this tribe, you have to be able to see and focus on what's going on in your life and see this. Anybody is not immune to this. The rich people are going through it. There's people who are hurting right now in the music industry and that. And you know what I mean? If you don't know how to manage your money, you're going to get affected. A lot of people thought they were safe. Some people will be all right. You know what I mean? A lot of people forget when Roland Martin got a couple years, I think that was 6 years ago when he got laid off. He started his own channel, started popping. Don Lemon. A lot of y'all forget about Don Lemon and Tucker Carlson, who got laid off. And we didn't see that coming. BET offered him $10 million to come over there.
Yep.
So nobody's immune. Shout outs to Gore. You keep the lights
Shout out
on,
to
baby.
Gore, man.
Shout out to you, Gore. Shout out to you, buddy.
Shout outs to my brother from another mother. So you know what I mean? So let's understand that you got to be able to pivot in these times. Things are going to get more crazy. Things are going to get more crazy. We just ain't see the half of it. The regular people haven't been. Matter of fact, let me change that. Regular people are being affected. For a lot of people who are looking for jobs who can't find jobs, they have this ghost job situation where you're applying and nobody getting hired. So just have to be smart and be able to pivot about it.
I want to add something for me. It's like, with my company, Albertsons and Kroger's, they trying to merge, and everything. But the thing with that is, they're still talking about it. So I don't see anything happening in the next end of this year or next year. But if it happens, you're gonna see a lot of store closings in certain states, especially here in LA, because I know there's certain stores that Kroger owns, which is Ralph's, a couple stores. I know Albertson, they own Pavilions, Vons, and there's and Albertsons as well. And there's a store which is like a couple miles away from me, which Kroger's own, which is called Ralph's, and also Albertsons, they own a store called Vons, which is right across the street from each other. So if they merge, one of the stores is going to get closed down, and that's hundreds of jobs that's going to be lost right there. So I'm just saying what's happening, the company that I work with, where they trying to merge and if they do merge, there's going to be certain stores that are going to be closing down, and a lot of people are going to be losing their jobs. That's going to happen. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Yeah, but this is the thing that what's transpiring is that people gotta understand what plays the effect with these stores is theft right now is on an all-time high, especially when it states like California. People walking into they go into Walgreens with garbage bag and walking out with it's feeling like they're going grocery shopping. It's just crazy when all that plays a lot into it. So a lot of these businesses say, hey, do I want to have my company over there in California, or I'd rather bring it in Florida where theft is really that low and it's not as high as it is in California? So there you go. Then you lose jobs. That's what people tend to not understand, that we are pretty much hurting our own community when we go around stealing and making a tangent all all around within the community. Now with the job losses, like I said, this month alone they added more jobs. So, but I remember Hakeem spoke about this one time. He said there are jobs available, but not the job people want.
There you
That's
go.
the issue because right now Walmart is hiring, but nobody want to be a cashier. You want to make your six earnings, six figures, but your six figures they ain't got the job no more. So you think people living a six-figure lifestyle, you think they want to go back to living a $40,000 lifestyle? Hell no. That's the issue. Go ahead, Hakeem.
I want to say something, Hakeem. And the thing is, with these companies, they're always hiring, during the fall and in the wintertime because that's seasonal and that's when they get paid the most. And I'm gonna go back to what Ronnie says about theft and with these companies and like with Target. I don't know if you guys seen it in Miami, but I know here in LA, especially in California, Target, Walgreens, CVS, and even some of my stores, all the stuff that's high theft, they're locking them into these plastic glass things, and you gotta find a worker to open up the gate. All you gotta do is push a button, the customers work up the gate because they can't afford these high people to steal and everything because it costs. That's unknown shrink right there because they're stealing. It costs so much money. So these companies are doing it, say, hey, you can't lose this type of all this money. They stealing, our expensive perfume or detergents, especially detergent. They steal a lot of detergents here in this area. So what they doing now, these companies like we can't afford to lose, so we gotta lock them up in order to save money. Go ahead, Hakeem.
So if people understand economics and the role of businesses have to make money to stay afloat. They have a bottom line. They have to pay their bills. Now, look at it this for perspective. A lot of people think only black people are going through this. Walmart is shutting down Walmart in Chicago and in Oregon and in Portland, Oregon, and some other places up in the Rocky Mountains. They're not the only ones that's doing that. So, and also this, I've been to Walgreens was going out of business. I live right down the street from one. Y'all remember they used to be 24 hours. Then they started to close down from 12 to 11. Then they only started hiring 2 people. They tried to merge Quest Diagnostics with them. That didn't work. And they say losing the sales of COVID tests and vaccine. What else are you going to sell? So what we see as life is not working. People are not being able to compete because a lot of people don't have money to spend. And we have to also see it like that as well. More new companies are going to be built. And Jordan said something pivotal, and Gore commented on that. Grocery stores are losing money it's like pouring money onto the ground.
Yeah, they are. That's a fact.
So their stores here who closed. A lot of people remember when Dixie. I'm still wondering. They're still struggling to hold by here. Struggling.
They hold it by the string.
By the string. You know what I mean? Some still want. Some had got rebranded to Fresco. You feel I'm trying to say? So we're seeing where this is gonna go. You know what I'm saying? But he says, yeah, that's crazy. Walmart is shutting down. People don't see it.
No, but it's happening. It's happening. It's happening.
And we all know. I don't want to, and I'm going to say this to critical. If you don't got a trade or if you don't got a degree, you working at Walmart.
Yeah, you're in trouble.
You working at Burger King and you working at McDonald's. Most of these places employ the bulk of our people in some of these areas. And it'll be a shame to see them go because what other skills do our brothers and sisters have? They don't want to go get another skill. So they're left to this. But they're going to be affected. You have to be able to pivot and move around. Go ahead.
See, during the pandemic it actually crippled our people because we became lazy, we became stagnant. Then other races of people are doing. Other races of people say, you know what, during this pandemic, I'm gonna study more. I'm gonna understand how the game go, and that's why they're prospering even through the midst of the storm. Now, when it comes to the aspect of black women. That's why I respect black women a lot. Black women, they say, you know what, we're going to educate ourselves. They're going back, they're going to school, they're getting higher education. It's just the man is not taking the initiative to get that higher education or to get the trade like Hakeem is saying. Because if not, we really in deep trouble. We go into a dark age where pretty much men is pretty much going to be pretty much depending on their women to survive. And that's not how the world is supposed to go. Because now the job market is only minimizing who they want to hire. Because right now, the company I work for now, they're not hiring anybody for the summer. Period. So think about it. They're not hiring anybody for the summer, and we short staff. They say, hey, the reason why we're doing it is because business ain't where it used to be. We used to be up $10,000. Now we are 50. Now we down 50. It's gonna get bad out here. Go ahead, Jordan.
Not just black women going to school. They are opening up businesses as well. A whole lot of businesses that you can see. A lot of black women they open up. They took a leap of faith and they open up businesses. They open up businesses. I'll give you one. My wife, she has a doggy business. You know, she, like I said, once the pandemic happened, you know, she got laid off from her job. And, you know, she was jumping from job to job. But, you know, when she started with Rover, you know, start building that, you know, from 2020 to now, you know, she's making, you know, between what, almost 2 to 3 grand a month on dogs right now. And essentially, you know, she's working on it. You know, a lot of black women, you know, they open up boutiques, selling stuff online, you know, jumping into, you know, YouTube, you know. It's a big jump on that, you know, and I like I said, I've seen, especially here in LA, I'm definitely seeing it. So I'm just saying for our men, like I said, you don't have to, you know, open up a business or anything. What you need is, like I said, Hakeem said, you need a skill, you need a trade, you know, build all the skills that you need, you know, because it's going to be there for a long term. I just want to go say about that. Go ahead, Hakeem.
Or you're going to have to buck up, work a job you don't want, and have a plan. If you're going to go back to school, 2 jobs. Sherry Bryant said that you need 2 successful people to work as one. Sometimes you're going to have to listen to your woman when she was like, Twan, I'm going to need you to go down there and go get your CDLs. If she know that's the best you can do. Go get your forklift license. We need you to go up there. Oh, matter of fact, they got that program up there where you can become a solar technician. You might have to sacrifice some stuff. You might have to leave town so your kids can eat. It's getting like that, man. If you bullshitted through school and you wasn't doing it, we're not blaming you. We're not pointing the finger. You're over 35. We need to do something serious. Sherry Bryan said the post office is even in trouble as well. Everybody is doing online billing. Talk about it.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Yep.
These government jobs, you think you was able to get? They're not hiring like that. Some people are already gatekeepers. You know what I'm trying to say? Some jobs that we used to be like, oh my God, this is the best. Listen, my dream was to go work at Publix warehouse. If you ever from Florida, you know Publix warehouse was, Lord Jesus, the creme de la creme of jobs.
Yeah.
Publix warehouse with Dixie warehouse and longshoremen, to become a longshoreman on the dock. That was hard to get in over there, and they still hard now. They're not hiring.
Facts.
That's true. You're right about that.
You know what I'm saying? Listen, to get into Whole Foods now is pressure.
Yep.
Yeah.
To get into Whole Foods now, listen, we have try to help some people get into. They couldn't get Whole Foods not taking everybody if you're not the right candidate. Some guys that are playing like, yo, it's you're gonna have to move to Fort Pierce or something, or a small town. Maybe you might have to move to Fresno and work at Dollar General.
No, but I'm not gonna lie. Even though right now things are bad, realistic vibe.
Realistic vibe. She's in the building.
Even though right now it seems like it's bad, but it's gonna humble a lot of people, because the people that was making 6 figures now they're gonna know how it feels to make 40,000 a year. The same when you look at that little man down the street, now you understand, okay, now I can relate. Because that's the whole purpose of all this. Go ahead, Hakeem.
No, you're right. But I also want to go back and hone in on something that Jordan was talking about. His wife has a side business. You can't depend on your job anymore. And I don't know if this is an inspiration. We're not telling you to quit your day job now. I'm not telling you to quit that 9 to 5. But if you cooking plates, you making cupcakes, you got a couple weed eaters and a lawnmower, you can go get you some money on the side and grow that into a sustaining business. We're telling people now, getting a degree, getting a trade is not only the option. Even then, when you do obtain those, you're still gonna have to get some more money. Rent is $2,500 in Florida right now. I never thought in my day. I remember growing up, you used to be able to get an apartment for $350 in Brown Sub on 22nd and 62nd Street. And those apartments then are $350 a month. $350. Rent is now $2,800. Mortgages is now $3,000.
Preach. Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Me and my beloved here, we're from Florida. We've seen the changing of the times. An efficiency is $900 here in Florida when people here barely make over 12. Some people ain't gonna go work on Taco Bell. You know? And a lot of the Black women who we love, who we care about, work in some of these retail stores. Ross, Burlington Co-Factories, Marshalls, Bell's, Ashley Stewart's, Dots, whatever you want to call it. They're getting affected too. Our sisters who did not go get a high school diploma or a degree, who have kids, they're in these positions. A lot of our sisters who work at Dunkin' Donuts.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Our beautiful sister who's there to earn a check to make sure the lights over her. She says she doesn't have time to go back to school. Baby, you're going to get sucked in this inflation. Go ahead, brother.
Facts. No, but Hakeem, you made a good point. People keep forgetting. Right now, they say the highest place to live in the United States is Florida. We are number one. They say we are the highest expensive place to live right now. So people that live in Florida, like me and Hakeem, we are in the hustle game. You gotta be in the hustle mindset. If you're not in a hustle mindset, you're really gonna be suffering to eat. Go ahead, Jordan.
And you right about that. You know, it's really because, like I said, a lot of, like I said, especially Miami, they've been a lot of condominiums right there. So they teach to me they're trying to attract people from other, countries, South America, Middle East, Europe, and also big cities like New York, LA. A lot of these people are moved to these, South Florida because nice weather. It's warm. 10 out of 12 months at a time, and a lot of people are moving to these big cities, especially Miami. That's why one of the reasons is getting expensive in Florida.
I don't know if a lot of y'all watched the Young Turks, and they did a poll on how many we have a deficit of houses for sale in the United States alone, over 4 million. It was Los Angeles, New York, and Miami ranked the top 3 of the most expensive places to live where there's a deficit. There's 14 million homes that are just unavailable for rent and for sale. You know where they at? Short-term rentals, Airbnbs, VROs. And right now, Airbnb is crashing right now. A lot of people, listen, it's going to get bad out here. You're going to see foreclosures like you ain't never seen before, scamming at a new high. Are people going to get into some devilish things? He says, Ronnie Run, how much is the gas out there in Florida? $5.50? No, it's still fairly low. It's $3.25 for regular gas. $3.25, $3.22, depending on where you at.
Correct, Hakeem. Correct. It's not that expensive. LA, I think, is the most expensive when it comes to gas. But
it sure is. It sure is.
Oh no, because just hear me out. You say it's 550. No, but I think they think about the cost of living when it comes to my Florida. The cost of living is high compared to anywhere else.
Yep.
Even it's weird because California, I thought it was the most expensive. No, California's number 2, Florida's number 1.
And it's still rising.
You see, she said Ohio is 340, so they're on par with us. I wonder how much it costs. I don't know if what's our beloved name? My thumbnail. What's her name again?
Oh, Sugar Bomb. Yeah, she live in DC.
She live in DC. I heard DC's going through some things. I wonder how much it costs to live there, Sugar Bum.
So we got to get it together as a people and as a nation. We really got to get it together. These job loss, I would say, it's mostly small tech companies. When I mean small, like of course they big tech company, but it's small. It's like they lay off like 11,000 people, but Hakeem, they got millions of people in some of these tech companies. Like Amazon, they lay off like 10,000 people. It don't really hurt them because like worldwide, they are giant. So it's like 10,000 don't really mean nothing to them. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, they're true about that because, like I said, they shoot by the time Amazon next 5 or 10 years, shoot, they're gonna be in almost every major city in the world, and every major city in the world. And also, you see the people that are, not buying houses like that because I don't know, you see in certain cities they are building condominiums like crazy. Here in LA, Miami for sure, Washington D.C., New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, and Atlanta. You can see it's going to like see a lot of people, especially in the middle class. They really can't afford buying houses, so instead of that, you see a lot of these, people are just building condominiums and apartments so they can rent. And it looks like a lot of people's going to be renting in their apartments or their condominiums, whatever, for the next 20, 30, 40 years.
Hey, Sherry Bryant, you're 100% right. I definitely have to leave them alone. You know what I mean?
Oh, you leave broke women alone?
With no benefits.
She said, no, Mr. Nice Guy.
Hey, I stopped being a nice guy years ago. That was under my 20s. I'm a full-blown monster now. Hello.
Hey, what's going on, Ish? What's happening?
Hey, she said it's crazy expensive out here. Ish, where you located? I thought you look like you from like California. If you're in California.
Yeah, she do look like she from California. California or Atlanta? Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta.
No, but now people understand something. When you see all you have to do is pay attention to the stock market. The stock market can tell you exactly how the United States and the world is doing when it comes to economics. When you pay attention to the S&P 500, the Nasdaq, and all the other small sector of the stock market, it tells you if America's going up or America's going down. She said she's from Philly, but I stay in Miami.
Okay. You from Philadelphia, North Philly danger zone. Tell them
shout out to Philly.
Erie Avenue. Listen, I was in Harrisburg for a little minute. I love Harrisburg. I've been to King of Prussia Mall.
No, I ain't gonna. I want to go to Philadelphia. I want to try their sub. I heard they got the best sub, so I want to. Yeah.
So
go ahead, King.
Let's read this part here. Our brother here said the part of this reason I decided to get into mental health are people are going to need to have ways to keep their mind in a healthy state, especially with bad times are the norm. We don't talk about that a lot. Like we haven't talked about the mental health of the last recent events that happened in the last couple weeks with our brothers and sisters being on the line. It says people are buying cars at all with everything 3 times their price and even with excellent credit. It's an epidemic right now. We wait till the repos happen. They say car payments are upwards to $500 a month now. The loans are to 72 months.
Yeah,
I've never heard that before. Muhammad says when conditions become unbearable, that leaves only one solution. The solution is a revolution. But what did Malcolm say was the basis of a revolution, and also what he did the last poet say about the N-words in the revolution? We have to leave them be. You know what I mean? Oh, she said she's from Philly, represent North Philly danger zone. Tell them the danger's home. Hold on. She say ish is always a choice. You know that she's our queen here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's our queen. She's a queen here.
Yeah. So go ahead.
No, go ahead. I can go ahead.
Yo, so we're gonna see some things that's going to happen that's going to shape the way we think about it in a whole nother aspect. And this is things that I don't think people have to have a plan. I think a lot of us don't plan for a lot of things. A lot of us don't have life insurance, short-term disability, long-term disability. People don't even invest in the stock market. Some people don't have a Roth IRA. You know what I mean? Some people are living above their means. You know, me personally, I'm trying to buy land and build a house on it. You know what I mean? And stuff like that. So we have to think differently the way we want to see our lives for us to survive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And now that people gotta understand something, when you see the economy with the way it's going, and you see job losses, um, high increases when it comes to grocery, high increase when it comes to cars loans, and the cost of living. Now we not you as the people gotta understand. I gotta start prioritizing where's my money going and how can I really manage my money. Especially black people, we tend to spend our money wildly and very fruitfully and don't even plan for the future. And that will always keep us stuck. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, you're right about that. Like I said, for instantly on direct TV stream, that was getting expensive. I had to cut that off because I'm paying almost at first I was paying like 50. Now it's like at $74, almost $75 a month. I'm like, no, that's $25 I can cut right there. And like I said, I'll spend my time YouTube on YouTube and watching shows, podcasting, and then catching sports shows and on they buy upload and everything for free. So I spend most of my time on YouTube than any other else now. I mean, only thing I might do if I watch football, I might get Sunday ticket. But other than that, cable is super duper expensive. I don't want cable no more. And I feel like I said, that if there's some stuff that you're paying, like you have a lot of like if you're paying like for stuff that you on your phone, like any apps that you're overpaying that people they see but they forget to take off, or any streaming service that you don't use, Hulu, Netflix, direct TV streams that you really don't use like that, make sure you cut those off. It's at a time, you gotta spend in an efficient way and also save a little bit too, because a lot of stuff, you can see, it's getting expensive. Like I said, like instant, like the summertime, every year is getting higher and higher. And the thing is, like, you got AC, you probably gonna use that a little bit more. And but to me, is we use your AC, make sure you use it at an efficient way. Meaning, if you need to turn it off for like 30 minutes and 45 minutes. After that, turn it off and turn on the fan so you can circulate. There's a lot of stuff you can save on. Just really, look on YouTube or ask somebody to see how you can save money in an effective way. Go ahead, Hakeem.
No, 100%, brother. I think you're right. As far as cutting bills and stuff like that, I think a lot of us don't talk about that. On YouTube alone, everybody's trying to encourage you to go get credit cards, go get LLCs, but nobody's talking to you on how to basically manage your own bills day to day. We don't even talk about budgets. We don't even talk about utilizing what you have, getting your credit together to try to put yourself in a better situation. You know what I mean? I'm very frugal when it comes to things, and then there's things that I'm not frugal at all. Like, I buy everything on credit and then I just pay it off every month. That's just a way that I've done things for quite some time. But you know what I mean? But I've also learned to manage myself, and I don't go out drinking, I don't go out party. So you know what I'm saying? A lot of my money is not spent in frivolous ways. You know what I'm saying? So that I had to learn getting older. That's why I say as you get older, you start to learn. But as things get even worse, we need to really buckle down and see this. But not only that, though, I think that one thing that is scaring a lot of us from doing better, and I want to talk about it. King has said something: poor resources, roommates. Poor resources, roommate. Listen, that sounds like a double entendre. That was a double entendre. That was a bar right there.
Yeah.
Poor resources, roommates. He's right. We have to live together. I'm gonna be real with you. In the African American community, we don't believe in shacking up and pulling our money together. A lot of us want our own space. Compared to Caribbean and Hispanics, I live next door to a Cuban family. It's 9 of them over there. 9. Babies, grandmothers, brother with his wife, the other brother with his wife. There's scat packs and trucks outside. Then there's a family across from me who bought the house next door and moved the brother in. He don't even got a wife. They just, hey, you're going to live next door. How do I know? I went over there and talked to him. I can't throw a rock over here to these dudes who I fuck with and want to do no shit like that. We don't believe in that. The Asians, the Koreans, they all do that. And this is why it's getting kind of hard and stuff like that. A lot of these LLCs not even accumulating no money. None of them are making.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't even get an LLC if you're not making over $2,000 to $3,000 a month. I don't even know why they're promoting that to you. A lot of y'all not even doing anything with it. You have a good side hustle. Keep it as that. You gotta.
No, but they do the LLC, Hakeem, just to get the tax write-off. That's why, because that's one of the secrets that a lot of people are promoting online is get your LLC so you get the tax write-off. Go ahead.
Let me ask you a question, my brother. If you're not making over a certain amount, you ain't gonna even benefit from the tax write-off. There's niggas who hitting 20 bands, 30 bands a month, where you can literally walk away from your job. Some people are making $500 a month on their side hustle. You don't need a goddamn LLC.
No, but remember, because remember now, because we're going to a place where I think you guys already. We're gonna talk about it pretty soon. I know Jordan probably gonna talk about it as a topic. There's something called FedEx Now, where the government pretty much gonna be tracking where your money's going. So the LLC might be a good way to capitalize on a tax write-off purposes, just protect. See, even just hear me out. Just said LLC is to protect your personal asset. That's all it is.
He says no LLC.
No, sorry, I read it wrong. Go ahead.
But here, it's not going to make a significant difference if you're not making a large sum of money. You know what I mean?
I agree with you, though. I do agree with you. You do make good money.
Don't get me wrong. If you're hitting $4,000 to $5,000 a month, where we're talking about you're grossing $100K, $100K, they're not going to go after somebody who's making $700 a month. They might send you a tax bill, if they even able to find out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, which is true. Real Pookie did. That's a fact. Remember, the LLC does come with taxes at the end of the year. That is a fact. Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm saying this. But one thing I do want to point out is this. For a lot of people who are not entrepreneurs, who need education, we can't be scared of the loans to get that. You just got to be smarter about it. A lot of us going to need education to get to another higher. And I don't want that type of narrative to be promoted to kids, because there's a lot of kids now who don't want to go to school because of loans. I just tried to say, just go to a cheaper school.
Yes.
Go to Miami-Dade. Go to Broward. If you know what I mean? Like right now, they lessen the gap for requirements for certain people, where before you needed 4 years to become an RN. Now you just need 2 years.
Correct. Facts.
LPN was a year. LPN is still a year. You know what I mean? A trade.
Facts-ish trade.
A trade. He says otherwise your personal responsibilities for any debt or liabilities. I say that, yeah, we can be smart about it now.
Man, shout out to the Voice of Venus, man. She been posting her channel on her page. She's a new podcaster, man. Shout out to the Voice of Venus. Y'all go subscribe to her. I will put her link in the chat. She's a new YouTuber. She's doing her thing. I support her heavily. So shout out to her for pretty much promoting us. I really do greatly appreciate it. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, that's a big us, a big us. But yeah, man, just around these times, just make sure you guys do your research, what's going on. And we, like I said, we really want to push this out to help you guys, because what's going on right now with this recession is crazy right now. And we want to make sure everybody in here is, is educated about what's going on, because, it's just going to continue to go, and it's only going to get worse. Definitely going to get worse.
Go ahead, Akin.
Oh, shout out to SD. I want to tell people this. One thing I want to say is this: I don't want nobody to give up on their dreams. I'm talking to all 13 of y'all. If y'all got something y'all wanted to do, y'all still need to do it, because that can be something that can help you out to keep afloat. Never give up on what you believe in. Secondly, don't quit your day job. You still need to maintain yourself. I would never tell no man to stop doing his job so he can go put out a CD or something. No, you still got to work. Third is, become recession proof. And another thing is this: don't be ashamed to have to do a type of job so you can be able to feed your family or to get yourself out of the rut. And don't be too ashamed to ask for advice. A lot of us who've made mistakes in our life, and we're still trying to figure this thing out. It doesn't matter how old are you. And this is a judgment-free zone. I don't care where you work. As long as you're a good brother, a good sister, we can all help each other out and influence us to do better things. You know what I mean? And that's what it is. I don't want nobody to think that you can't be in this space with us, or you are no less than because you work at a job and somebody else work a better job. You can always reach to that level. So that's the point that I'm trying to get. As these things get heavier and times get worse, don't be afraid. We just got to pivot.
And now that people gotta understand something, your job don't define you. Yeah, you may be at corporate exec and you lost your job. You could get that same corporate exec job or semi job like that back again. All these things is a materialistic thing. Your happiness at the end of the day, that's all that matters. And that's why it's so very important to like, share, and subscribe, and make sure you hit that notification bell on the right-hand side. Remember, we do go live each and every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time. Shout out to Sherry Bryan. Shout out to SD. Shout out to for Ish. Man, I love her name. Shout out to the Voice of Venus. Shout out to the Real Pookie. Shout out to Just Hear Me Out. Shout out to J Dub. Shout out to Realistic Vibes. Shout out to Urban Noise. Shout out to Ken Dog. Man, so mane people here today. Liberated Soul. Shout out to you, Big Dog. Shout out to Motivated Vision. I'm trying to make sure I get everybody. Shout out to Gore, man. I mean, I fuck with Gore heavy. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with Gore. Shout out to Gore. And shout out to Sugar Bomb. Sugar Bomb was quiet today. I'm glad she behaved today. She was very quiet. Shout out to those that's watching us on Instagram. Shout out to those that's watching us on Twitch. Shout out to those that are also watching us on Facebook. And even though some of you guys may watch us on a playback, shout out to you guys as well. Make sure also to go in the community tab. In the community tab, there's a KL Culture Radio t-shirt. Prince King new book, Black Love. Come over here and support the platform. We on our way to 1K subscribers. Would you guys help? We would achieve that goal.
Shout outs to North Philly, Philadelphia. Shout outs to Philadelphia.
Yes, sir. Thank you for tuning in to KI Culture Radio. We over and out.